What's up everybody, Ramey here, and today we're talking about the Rogue CG-3NF close grip cable attachment for low rows, cable rows, or pull downs in various configurations depending on what you want to do. Lots of options to this bar, this attachment. I'm going to talk about all those options, why I chose it, and whether I recommend it or not, whether I like it. So first of all, this bar itself, including the hardware, handles, everything on Rogue's website, says 2.85 pounds. I measured it myself and confirmed that it weighed 2.85 pounds. So they are correct with everything. That's everything, so it's extremely light attachment. It is $105 on Rogue's website as of right now. $105, that includes the handle, so I paid $105 for it. It is currently on Rogue's so buy 3 things, ship free. So I did get it shipped for free because of that, but if you were to just buy it individually, you are paying shipping depending on where you live, can vary in price. But I did get it shipped for free. $105, can be shipped for free if you buy the 3 for 3. All right. Few different options when buying this, and I'm going to talk about why I bought it. Before I get to the handles and handle angle, let me talk about why I chose this bar specifically versus Rogue's, some of their other cable attachments, what I looked for, and then we're going to have kind of a big discussion on the handles and handle options. So first of all, when you buy this bar, so you can see what it looks like. It is a straight attachment. So basically just a straight attachment. You can see the holes on top. So you can see there are 3 holes on each side. The holes on each side measure 6 inches, 8 inches, or 10 inches. So what that does if you buy this bar versus, say, a regular V-bar attachment, is that this gives you options. Because the handles on this bar are adjustable, you can choose what you actually prefer. That was one of the big selling points for me on this bar. You can choose 6, 8, or 10-inch close grip pull down. So traditionally for a V-bar, these are typically about 6 inches. This V-bar is actually like 5.5 inches, and it's a little too narrow for me. And I know that going in that it was a little too narrow for me, and I've used the both Titan and Rogue 6-inch like fatter grip attachments in gyms before, and 6 inches does not feel correct for me. So I wanted a bar that was a little adjustable that would give me both 6, 8, and hopefully a little bigger adjustments. So one of the reasons I selected this bar was that it would really give me lots of options versus a standard V-handle. I can buy these V-handles on Amazon for 20 bucks. The more expensive ones from Rogue and Titan and other companies are more like between $60 and $90. This was $105 and gives me tons of versatility. So it was one of the reasons I went for it. And I like the versatility. I'm a fan of switching every 6 months or so the kind of grip that I'm using for my lats, for pull downs and close grip rows. So I chose this because it had those options. Now, in addition to having these hole options, so you can choose like, what do you want? 6, 8, or 10 inch? Like, what do you personally prefer? And you might not know, which is why the versatility is really good. You're not sitting there playing with all kinds of different sizes. You don't know. The versatility is really nice. So when you go to purchase this bar, you actually have options for straight handles that would go in the 6, 8, or 10 grip, or you have an option for angled at 16 degrees or 20 degrees. The standard for this bar, it comes with 32 millimeter size grips. These are Rogue's H5 handles. So you can choose 0, 16, or 20. Let me talk a little bit about the handles, and then let me talk about kind of the choices that you have and what I think you should select if you are purchasing these. So first of all, Rogue's H5 handles, they use the knurl on them is 25 TPI, which is the same as the Rogue Ohio bar. However, these are grippier because the volcanoes on these are a little higher, which means the holes, the peaks are higher, smaller holes, which makes these more grippy than a standard Ohio bar. I will put a picture up on the screen so you can see the difference in knurl between the H5 handles and the Rogue Ohio bar. So grippier knurl. This is 25 TPI is one of my favorite knurl sizes. I wish these were mountains, but this is probably the best knurl that I think that Rogue actually makes for a bar right now, is on these handles. So when you go to purchase, you have a choice of, so that's the handles themselves. These H5 handles that Rogue does sell, just to talk a little bit about them, and I'm going to do a whole video on the handles for these bars. They are interchangeable with a number of Rogue's accessories right now, which is actually really cool because it's kind of like an ecosystem. As you buy a bar too, you have lots of options to switch to, like the Rogue multi-grip barbell. You can see that I have right here, uses those handles, so I can actually swap the handles from this with my multi-grip. You can also purchase additional handles on Rogue's website. The handles themselves are like between, I don't know, 30 and 60 bucks, depending on the size. They have numerous sizes from 28.5 millimeters, 32 millimeters, and I want to say it's like 40 or 45 millimeters is the big fat size. They also have different angles, straight, 16 and 20 degrees, and then they also have colors, which is really cool, but adds more money to your purchase, which is, I'm always going for the cheaper, so I have these. They also offer them in stainless steel, which is actually what my multi-grip bar has. Those are more expensive. I don't think they're worth it over the aluminum handles, which are much lighter and cheaper because they actually feel the same in my hand. I'm not noticing a difference between these two. So when I purchased this bar, so when you go to purchase this bar, you have the option of, as I said, straight, 16, which is what I have on here, or 20 degree handles. Now, I knew that I wanted straight and I wanted an angle. So the first thing I did that I noticed on Rogue's website is that, so I knew I was going to be purchasing an extra pair of handles. I didn't know, whatever, just pick one and then buy the other. So when I went on Rogue's website and looked at the H5 handles themselves, I noticed that the straight handles by themselves are $10 cheaper in every configuration versus the angled. But when I go to buy this accessory, choosing a different handle doesn't change the price. So essentially, when I bought the accessory, I chose the angled handles and then bought straight handles. If I would have done the reverse, like picked straight for the accessory and bought angles, it would be $10 more money. So a little tip, buy the angled on the accessory, check all the prices. Check them on the website before you buy them, but buy the angles and then buy the straight separately because it'll save you $10. Just a little tip. I noticed that when I purchased them and I ended up saving myself $10 from doing the reverse. Okay, so I did buy straight and I did buy angled. Straight, I bought 28.5 millimeter because I wanted a thinner grip. And I actually wish Rogue sold these in either 25 or 27 millimeter, which I think they will in the future, but they do not now. So, Rogue, if you're watching, please do that. But those are your options, so that's what I purchased. And then for the angled grip, I chose the 16 degree angle. I have that same angle on my multi-grip bar, and it's really a preference of what you want. What you're gonna choose, what you wanna purchase. So I know that 20 degrees is gonna be, it's only 4 degree difference, but it is just that much more. So just to kind of tell you some of my rationale for choosing the 16 degrees and the difference between the straight 16 and 20 degrees on this specific attachment. So for the straight handles, you can use 6 inches, 8 inches, or 10 inch. You can choose how you want it to be, which is very, very, very cool. That's like 3 multi-grips in one, especially if you're choosing different handle sizes. Like it's very cool. With the 16 degree angle, you can either do 7 inches. So right now this is, so 7 inches would be connecting to the first hole, and you can do 9 inches connecting to the second hole, because on the bottom, I'm using the last hole. So I can't actually, with the 16 degrees, you have 2 options. It's 7 inches apart or 9 inches apart. I have them set for 9 inches right now. Now, if you were to buy the 20-degree angle, you only have one option, and that is 8 inches apart. So I thought with the 16 degrees, I'd get a little more versatility, be able to have 2 options on how close or far apart I wanted the angle to be. And that measurement, when I say 7 and 9, is from the center to the center. So right now, these are 9 inches apart, center to center. The 20 degrees are only 8. These give me the option for 7 or 9 inches. And the straight handle give you that 6, 8, or 10. All right, so how do you know what you're supposed to choose? How do you know what you're supposed to choose? You gotta know what you prefer. It's all preference. It depends what you work, what you're trying to work, where your focus is, and what your preference is and how you use this movement. You know, when you do a row or a pull down, the pull is really with your elbows, but how does it feel with you? So me personally, when I use a really close grip, this is 5.5 inches, this feels terrible to me. It feels like an incomplete movement regardless of where my elbows are positioned. It's too close, it does not feel good on my back. When I spread that out a little bit, I much prefer a little wider grip than 6 inches. This is all preference based on how you're built. So the idea is you hopefully know before you're purchasing this what you prefer. The good thing, and one of the reasons I went with this bar over a standard, is that versatility of being able to change it out. If I decide I want 6, which is the standard for close grip, I can do that with this. If I decide I want a little wider, I'm a much bigger fan, for me personally, with my close grip rows and my close grip pull downs, to be much closer to my shoulder grip than inside. And it's all preference, and they're all different variations of the same exercise, but they all work the back slightly different. So you have to kind of know what you want, but that's the beauty of this bar. And it's one of the reasons I actually chose this bar over all the other options Rogue offered. I wanted something small. I didn't want the big bar, especially for rows. You don't want a big bar. I think their big bar is like 8 to 10 pounds. That's uncomfortable with rows. That's not what I want. So I knew I didn't want that. I wanted something small and light. I also knew that the more options that I had within that, like I definitely wanted 6 inches, which is the standard row, so that I would never need to buy another V grip, because I could always just emulate it with this if I chose to. And I wanted additional options. I also knew that I don't like deep angles. They have a bow and arrow like bar, but the angles are much deeper. That personally for me does not add any value because of the way I do the exercise, the way I'm built. So I did not purchase that, which is why I chose this one as the one that would work for me. So how does it feel using it? It feels really, really, really good. Just like it feels just like any other V-bar that I've ever used. I did have some concern because notice on a V-bar, when I'm pulling to my chest, the only thing touching my chest are the 2 handles. There's nothing in the middle. So I was a little concerned at first. Would this bump right here annoy me? Like, would that be the thing that hits my chest first? I'm not even hitting my chest with the bump. It's okay. I don't actually, it doesn't come to my chest. I'm like about an inch. Me going as far back as I can, I'm about an inch away from my chest as it is. So I'm not hitting it. But that was a concern of mine when I purchased this, and I figured I'll give it a try. But yeah, not a concern, not something that bothers me or I notice. So this basically will replace any type of V-bar that I could mostly ever purchase because of all the handle options. Now, realistically, am I ever going to change these handles out? Like, should you buy multiple handles if you're purchasing this? I do think it's nice to have an angled and a straight, but realistically, you're not changing these out every time you use it, or even like, this is something like I'm going to use it angled like this for 6 months, and then I might say, hey, I kind of want to change the exercise around, get some variation. Maybe I'll go straight, and then I'll change it to straight for another 6 months. So we're talking like, for me personally, maybe it'll be changed once a year. That's about it. Maybe twice if I'm lucky. So it's kind of like a set it and forget it type thing once you figure out what you like. But the options there are nice. The option to have colored handles are cool for people to care about that look. For me, it's more of a financial thing. And I do love the look of raw steel, the nice like bare stainless steel, even though this is aluminum, which makes it lighter. So do I think it's worth it? Do I think you should purchase it? Do I think this is better than the other attachments out there? I think over a standard V-bar, I think this is 100 times better because you can really adjust it to what you prefer. These do not work well for me. I am not a fan of using these V-bars. They do not feel great compared to just a little, because the grip is too narrow for me, the way that I'm built, the way that I pull back with my elbows. So yes, I would save a ton of money by just buying this for 20 bucks, 30 bucks on Amazon. Like this is like a yes for all generic one that you just buy anywhere. But this is like numerous bars in one. So for $100, I get numerous bars in one. Yeah, it's becoming a lot more of a selling point for me. Now, should you buy this, the 3NF over the bow and arrow, the other ones that Rogue sells? I think it comes down to personal preference, what you're looking for. You have to kind of know like what size grips you're looking for, what you're really looking for in the Rogue bar. You really need to know what you're looking for. I think any of them are probably great options. I think the ones that have more options, like 6, 8, 10 inches, you're not really gonna go wrong because you're gonna find something you like on it. So some of the other options Rogue offers do not have this many options, which was one of the reasons I kind of was a little hesitant on them. And I kind of knew from experience what I was looking for, and I was able to build that with this bar. So I am super happy with this purchase. I think, I'm never gonna say this is the last Cable Pro attachment I buy, because I'm sure I'm gonna buy 10 more in the next 5 years. But this is one that I think is worth that little bit of extra money versus just the others because of the versatility for the price. I'm glad Rogue is only offering, because if this was like $200, I probably wouldn't buy it. I would say just get a V-bar for 80 bucks that is a standard size, over 200 bucks for this. So if they increase the price of these, it's not gonna be worth it. I do think where Rogue is brilliant in these is that all of these handles use those H5 grips. And I'm gonna do a video on just these handles because there's so many options and cool things you can do with them. And now I've got like a bunch of them for 2 different items, and I have their new tricep bar on pre-order. So like, yeah, there's some stuff happening with these handles that's pretty cool that I like. You know, and I'm not the biggest fan of Rogue, but these, I'm not gonna deny good products either, and I do like these. So yeah, when I did buy it, it does come in 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 5 pieces total. This took me maybe 3 minutes to build. Like, there's nothing to it. It does come in pieces, but it literally took me 3 minutes to build. Rogue provides the Allen wrenches that you need to use it to put it together. Obviously, I have tons of Allen wrenches at home, but you don't need like didn't need a drill Allen wrench to build it. It just took 1 second with just hand tightening. So it really was a very simple process. As I said, super light. You can use it upside down or regular. I've actually been testing both ways to get different variations of the exercise just to see what it would feel like if I liked it. I am very, very, very happy with this exact setup with the 16 degree at the 9 inches. Is feeling great for me, for my back, good pulling it, way, way, way better than this. This was a nightmare for me, and I've had this for a very long time, and it's gonna be one of those things that I toss to the wayside from now on, because I will probably never touch that again. I will be using this. So that's my review of the CG-3NF. Honestly, wish I could say there were some things I don't like about it, but there really isn't. It's a price point, and what you get and versatility can't be beat for a cable attachment. So later all.